Everybody. Man, I love seeing you guys. Hamilton, what's up? Oh, you saw you saw this a few minutes ago. All right, cool. Listen, I hope Kiki's doing well. I plan on asking you tomorrow if it's going to be the two eyes or just one. So yeah, Pete, I had this every day. All right, cool. So let's get right to it. I so Pete, I did see, and I'm sure everybody else saw the back and forth about the thumbnail today. I thought it was pretty objective. Last night at the Michigan rally, which is what I'm going to really be covering in the first part of the program. Uh, that was a direct snapshot from the rally, and uh, and I thought it was fair. I thought it was fair game. And by putting walls with Netanyahu and his one of his state's representatives, Ilhan Omar, who has a very interesting primary in like 5 days. I thought it was a good juxtaposition on what the future of the campaign holds for them, and that's just what I thought behind putting the thumbnail the way it was, and controversial maybe, but I thought very accurate. So without further ado, let's see what the news cycle has for us. Sharing in. Oh, and as a sort of new development today, I I put the newsletter wherever I really draw on for news. I put it in the description below, just in case you guys want to visit it. You can see it for yourself. And there's a particular article I'm going to be mentioning later on. So, without further ado, let's put this on. All right. Now, I learned from yesterday. I'd like to make it as big as I can for you guys. Let's do this. Time Magazine, top 10 headlines. They have an exclusive interview with Netanyahu saying, "What are you going to do after the war?" I mean, as per the subject line, answers questions on Gaza, Iran, and Israel. Israel is anxiously waiting for a response from Iran for the assassination of Hamas leader last week. Interestingly, Egypt said no flights to Tehran during a particular time window of 3 hours today. Let's see what happens. IVF has changed under America. I'm sure there's some mention of JD Vance's comments. The EPA banned a pesticide that's dangerous for fetuses. I guess we covered that in a couple of days ago, talking about the EPA's ban. Uh, yeah, snoring's not really changing lives. Taylor Swift's Vienna concert canceled after the alleged terrorist attack was thwarted. Now, it's if you go back and you see, number one, there were chemicals found at one of the suspects' apartments. Number two, what's being reported as fact is that these people are being radicalized by the internet. Any follower of Michael Smerconish knows the more alone and the more isolated people are on the internet opens them up to that radicalization. I'm sure they wanted to. I mean, just look at the image of her right there. I should probably zoom in for you guys. I mean, it's a sexy image and something that I guess terrorism would say we fought against. We fought against women being objectified like this on TikTok. Gaza's Palestinian plead to the world, don't scroll. Um, I mean, it's heartbreaking if you see the content they put out there, truly. But I think it's 52-1 is the ratio of anti-Israel to pro-Israel content on TikTok. You should definitely see it. You should definitely see it. But it's pretty obvious that one version of events is getting a lot more traction than the other on TikTok. On TikTok in particular. Uh, Okay, this probably has something to do with the allegedly transgender situation going on in female boxing. Um, okay, and that's basically it for Time Magazine. For others who might not have been here the other days, this is TLDR. They have a bunch of different versions of their newsletter. So this is in particular to marketing. And there was a headline right here that I wanted to bring to your attention. So if you realized over the past month or so, Google has a paid sponsorship with LinkedIn, Reddit, and I believe it's Quorum. They're prioritizing their search results over organic websites. So let's say you're looking for an independent news source, it'll likely more than likely promote a Reddit or a different forum, a conversation kind of platform, talking about where you can get independent news. Now, this company Reddit plans to IPO, go live, and they have to find a way to monetize it. So Google, who's responsible for 89% of internet traffic, is funneling all this traffic to Reddit. And now Steve Huffman, the CEO, is planning to put a lot of its forums and conversation topics behind paywalls. So it's interesting to see what how information is going to be disseminated now. If you look at the last sentence here, the most controversial change was to hike up its API fees because OpenAI, who's responsible for ChatGPT, trains based off of Reddit. Um, OpenAI signed a deal with Reddit, but it's interesting to just keep in mind the funnel of information that most of the world uses to get whatever content they're looking for. From looking on how to fix a kitchen stove to what's wrong with Tim Walls, same thing. Um, okay, that was just one thing in the marketing space I wanted to draw your attention to. Let's go next. The Political Playbook, New York edition. Again, I cover New York just because where I live, but they have adequate framing of federal issues. So, like to me, majority of New York voters, 54% believe crime in the state got worse. And yeah, this is a move that Kathy Hochul did. Hochul has a big role in Harris's nomination. Let's see how she takes that. Uh, Left-leaning Democrats, of course, are oblivious to the sentiment of New Yorkers, and New York City is making a cost of living announcement. All right, good for the mayor. And nothing else that really pertains. Well, there's Kennedy in court. RFK is spending the week in Albany trying to stay on the ballot. Nothing to do with the bear. And okay, pretty relieved to see that he's being protected by Secret Service. This should have deserved more press than I think it's getting. Uh, Governor Hochul suspended congestion pricing in the heart of Manhattan indefinitely. And now Attorney General Letitia James is saying she's not going to defend the government against lawsuits stemming from congestion pricing should have been in effect. It's a duly elected law and legislation that passed, given under very different circumstances in 2019, signed in by Andrew Cuomo. But I mean, it's interesting. I didn't know that an attorney general can just buck a governor like that. And then there's, of course, APAC versus the squad, something I'll get to a little later. Uh, Ever since the Jamal Bowman race, APAC has become the villain. APAC has become NRA, AARP type of thing. And I mean, the shame it's come to that, if you ask me. Um, I honestly believe money is speech. I don't think, yeah, I do. Um, I'll leave that for the Cory Bush stuff later on and the Kamala Harris headlines. Okay, so there's that. Again, this is my Google News. I set it to be as diverse as I possibly can, and I hope it reflects that. Why Ukraine's launched the raid into Russia's Kursk region. It's interesting that Ukraine is launching raids instead of defending itself. At least by the press I've seen so far, it's just been Ukraine is clinging on. Ukraine is clinging on. Veteran who served in. So Fox is reporting that. All right, so let me back up here. Tim Walls is claiming he has a title of major sergeant, I think, and that only happened after he retired. Some people are from the right are pointing at him as evading the call to action in Iraq. Um, but still claiming the title promotion. To be honest, I don't see I don't see anything substantive in those arguments. I've been monitoring different timelines, trying to defend and attack Walls. I don't see it. I mean, he served our country, and I'm thankful for it. Yes, that's it of interest here. More on the TLDR general news. So ChatGPT's mobile app had its biggest month yet. Why does that matter to me? Because people are resorting to ChatGPT for more information than search engines. I mentioned Google is responsible for 89% of web searches, but ChatGPT is taking on more of people's inquiries. Why would you want a list of blue links instead of just getting the answer right away? It's another step in shortened attention spans. So there's that. And yeah, there's that and that threat to search. But what's also concerning about the funnel of information is that ChatGPT is not always accurate. It's not based on fact. It's based on prediction of the next word and learning based on other language models. So there's that concern that I have. This we covered in the marketing newsletter. NASA wants to bring back some astronauts. NASA wants to bring back some astronauts from the International Space Station using Elon Musk's SpaceX. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. But is NASA outsourcing space work or space travel to SpaceX? I don't know how I feel about that. Privatization of a government function. Something I'm thinking about. And then, okay, we covered this earlier this week. Google was officially declared a monopoly by the DOJ. And sorry, Google was declared a monopoly by the DOJ. And the DOJ didn't say what it's seeking as a remedy. So Google owns YouTube, Google owns Gmail, Google Drive, um, Google AdSense, which is responsible for all those pesky ads you see all over the internet. You know, when you search for glasses and then all you can see throughout the internet is glasses, it's probably them. They didn't seek a remedy. So I don't know if they sought to, if the government's going to seek to break them up as an enforcement of the judgment, but Apple could be forced to accept a much. So Apple pays a ton of money. It leaked in one of the court cases earlier. How much Apple pays Google to be or Google, how much Google pays Apple to be the default search engine on iPhones. Again, when thinking about the funnel of information these days, all this stuff is important. And they can, so Apple can be forced to go with a different search engine, potentially Bing. Apple signed an agreement with OpenAI and ChatGPT. Again, OpenAI and ChatGPT, the results are not always accurate. So let's see what happens. YouTube begins testing a new feature to Twitter's community notes. So now YouTube is, I actually got a notification of this myself yesterday on this YouTube channel. I get to add notes onto different videos. Let's just say somebody makes a video about the 2020 election. I can put in a note saying that it was a free and fair election with regular discrepancies that didn't change the outcome of the election. So it's been I think a home run of a success on Twitter to sort of bring truth to fake news, and YouTube wants to implement it themselves. When considering the funnel of content and information these days, it's important to know how many people spend their time on YouTube. We're here now. Uh, Many young men claim, I think by Scott Galloway's research, to spend every day, and I think it's over 5 hours a day on YouTube. Uh, and YouTube on TVs is skyrocketing. I could tell you that just based off the analytics of this channel. People usually watch on their phone or TV. And that's that. Going on to the last one, the 1440. I included a link to this newsletter below in case you guys wanted it. And I think it's a pretty centrist newsletter with headliners. So yeah, this is a little more detail on the astronauts they're bringing home from the International Space Station. Uh, just so you know, the marketing or the I guess the revenue plans for these streaming platforms, Disney never posted its profits for Disney Plus, which includes Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN. It's amazing they have $47 million in operating income and posted a $512 million loss last year, same time. So there's that going on, just to know about something that touches each and every one of our lives. Taylor Swift, we covered. NFL preseason is beginning. That's always nice. Um, Stock markets closed lower, if you ask me. I mean, I saw an interview with Kevin O'Leary yesterday. He goes, "This is fantastic for the markets. It's sobering up, coming more to reality, and it's not a bad crash." Shopify shares. Shopify is the leading e-commerce shopping cart. A lot of websites that you shop on actually run based on Shopify. Just shows the general trend of e-commerce, something that I profess every day. And Tropical Storm Debbie. I hope everyone's well, didn't get impacted negatively on that. Uh, Corey Bush, Wesley Bell. I'll get to that when it comes to Kamala Harris, and that's about it. Okay, now is for my opinion part. I like saying now is the real story. So here we go. Um. Oh wow, Hamilton. I left your comment up this whole time. My mistake. Maybe. I hope it didn't obstruct anything. Okay, let's see what you guys have been commenting. It's being reported that potential attacks have been thwarted. Yeah. So, Sean, when it comes to Netanyahu and Israel with the Iran attack, a lot of talk has been presented on preemption. Is Israel in the moral right to preempt a strike by Iran and attack them preliminarily? In one way, it could be viewed as escalating tensions unnecessarily, but in another, it's listen, we're just defending ourselves. Uh, if you ask me, I think they're within their right to preempt an attack if they have that kind of intel. But the nuance comes that the U.S. won't be happy because in the event it is an escalation, it'll tank the Democratic ticket uh, because another war in the Middle East is definitely not going to help the Democrats' reelection bids. My opinion. Yeah, Bruce. But you know what? It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, and I may continue it. Why not? I enjoy it, and if you guys do too, I'm with you. You guys are the ones who give me support. Suen, I think this is the FTC was going after Amazon. I don't know if they were going after Google, but for sure Amazon and Lena Khan. That was on their list. But the DOJ was breaking up Google on the monopolistic grounds. So okay, Sean, how much paywalls diminish? They don't diminish. If anything, I've seen them become more and more solid. Let's call it that, because paywalls. Yeah, and if in my experience, a cheap guy like me who tries to get around them, it didn't work for me to get. It works a lot less for me to get around them. May have to learn something from you. Yeah, yeah. So, and I guess this is in regards to the search and the content funnel. I'm hoping the different angles I gave you on the content, how people ingest content these days is contributive to your point here. Um, M3, you tell me what one of your lifelong nicknames were. I'll be more than interested to know. Um, okay. Yeah, Hamilton. I don't I don't know I don't know what to make of it. What is Ukraine's actual position? I wish you know what? I wish Michael could just bring up Admiral Stav and let us and give us an update on where the war stands and if there's really any future there. Is Russia going to gain anything? Is Ukraine going to gain anything? Should they just call it quits? Is it going to take the next administration to negotiate a deal, or will Biden secure one and then just credit Harris? Because the way the narrative is being pitched these days is the president and vice president have been briefed. And it's very, very apparent that the vice president has been briefed. Something that, as an American, makes me feel a little uncomfortable just because the vice president is not the commander in chief. And it seems like they're preempting her win. Um, but yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It just makes me a little uncomfortable that the vice president is always being thrown in there. Um, Not again, Sue, and don't quote me on the rank exactly, but he's claiming a rank, and the GOP is coming after him for claiming the rank unfairly. You can do some more digging there, but don't quote me on that. Uh, well, the good news is you don't need a password these days. You can actually access it without a password. Uh, what did I share? Sorry. How do people read so much? You know what? I first I skim the headlines. If there's something I'm interested, I open it up in a new tab and I read it. If it gets to be too much, I actually put it through. I put my whatever written content I have, and even video and audio, through Chat GPT and another GPT called Claude, and I actually read the summations of those. It's remarkable to see the political differences between different GPTs because they're based on different training languages, and they also have different attitudes. If you are more concerned about facts as I am, my go-to AI platform is actually called Perplexity.ai. The intention behind that GPT is that everything is based on a live source and it's connected directly to the internet. ChatGPT for a long time was not connected to the live internet. So if you asked it who the president was, it'll only give you the answer as of 2020 or 2021. But it was recently open to the internet. I'm not quite sure how to expand beyond those points. Again, M3 Amazon was Alina Khan, FTC kind of thing, to my knowledge. And then, yeah, Bruce, check out 1440. I put in the description. It's a pretty nice newsletter. It's free, and there's that. Sean, YouTube, yeah. But if you look at the general trends, it's being adopted far and wide, and it's actually a pretty profitable operation when you look at it from Google's end. So a potential enforcement of the judgment by the DOJ could be to break off YouTube, Gmail into different companies, and search could be all into different companies under Alphabet. Alphabet is Google's parent company that owns all of those assets. Uh, all right. Okay. Uh, last but not least, okay, cool. You guys having fun? All right, Jay. The VP should be briefed. Absolutely. You know what? I agree. Um, but why is it being highlighted? That's my point. It's being highlighted for either a political gain, but if it's being highlighted for a national security gain, I'm okay with that. Uh, the VP should be briefed because, I mean, God forbid, if something happens to the president, she should not be catching up, especially in a situation like that with a lot of turmoil. Uh, that's just my 2 cents on why it's being made clear. Why was the VP there making sure to welcome back Evan Gershkovich in the prisoner swap? It's things like that eke at my political voice inside the head. Uh, yeah, Hamilton. If you're still in New York, it's gonna hit us too. So let's see how that goes. Okay. And by the way, Sean, if you're talking about paywalls, libraries, great way to get access to the, in my case, the New York Times and Wall Street Journal. Uh, it's a little annoying that I have to renew my library subscription every 1 to 3 days, but you could definitely get around them as a paid subscriber. Hey, you're paying for it with your taxes. Um, Hamilton, of course I'm with you. It's just, why is it being highlighted is my main crux over here. All right. Making the biggest news. is Cory Bush and Kamala Harris's rally last night. I want to bring up what happened last night. Michigan. Okay. So last night, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were at a rally in Michigan. We all know the biggest mind twister for me was picking Walz over Shapiro, and probably because of the faith and political ideology of Shapiro. The political ideology of Shapiro and Walz are not different. Maybe a little bit, not a lot of it. Um, I think faith did play a role. I voted yes in yesterday's poll question on Spokanish.com. But it's hard to say no. Yesterday, Kamala Harris faced protests. Kamala, you can't hide. You're performing genocide. And let's play it. Kamala, Michigan. I hope you guys saw this, but I don't know if this is too cheesy or not. Let me make this full screen. And let's share it. Sorry, guys. I'm usually a lot more swift in my presentation. And Hamilton, I see I left a comment up from you. I'm taking that down in a minute. So check this out. Not that one. Not that one. Here you go.
Climate crisis, and he intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
See that look? That's for the memes. And she's trying to give that tough cookie prosecutor look. So there's that. So I mean, Tracy brings up a point. I mean, Kamala's there, and nobody really voted for her to be there. They voted for her to be the VP, not to be the nominee. Uh, Factually, it's a strong point, but nonetheless, our system works that way. If we don't like the system, we have to change it. It's not like she broke a rule. Yeah, I mean, he makes fun of them. He intimidates them. He's a child about it. He doesn't handle it like Kamala did. Sean, that was a great line. That was a great line in one of those debates. So, anyways, going back to the Kamala point. Kamala granted the head of the undecided vote in Michigan, I think it's called, and met with them. They specifically asked for a speaking slot at the DNC, and here's the article I was referring to. I'm going to share this from the Jerusalem Post, and this was concerning to me. If the Republicans were able to have the family of American hostages still being held in Gaza at their RNC, and they're actually granted a spot at the DNC, oh, you better kiss Jewish support of the Democrats goodbye. Just before her rally, Harris met with these two leaders who, according to the report, wanted to support her but considered an arms embargo. Harris said she was open to it. Who said if that's just lip service? only in this brief engagement does she continue to engage with these communities. And Kamala, you can hide. We'll vote genocide. This is from the rally we were talking about. And she said she's here because she believes in democracy. Every voice matters, including theirs. If you ask me, their voice should count. Their heckling was valid as heckling. I don't support what they're saying, but they have a right to say it. But if you ask me, no president of the United States should be supporting or giving credence to these kinds of people. It just doesn't work electorally. Maybe they'll get the undecided votes in Michigan, but they will not get the moderates in every other swing state, in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania especially. That's my take on it. And the fact that she met with them to discuss an arms embargo is just, I mean, pandering more to the left. And you guys know how I feel about the pandering to the extreme left. It's not. I don't think it's a good move for America. And I'll add this to the description of the video in case anybody else is interested. Sean Nichols. Oh, we're gonna go down that rabbit hole. I'll tell you, there are good conservatives and there are good liberals. There are horrible extremists on right and horrible extremists on left. That's what I'll tell you. Guys, I'm paying attention to the clock. I have another 5 minutes, and then listen, I'm more than happy to spew my opinion, especially on the politics. Let me know what you think. Guys, I had a fantastic week. Tomorrow we have a meet and greet. And I plan on seeing everybody on our video conference. Let me know what you think. Is my style too free flowing? Should I have prepared different segments differently? Would you have liked to seen a guest? Would you? I mean, really, how else have you liked to see in this presentation? That's what I have to say. And I publish content regularly, so if you can, just give me a thumbs up. I have a newsletter at my website, chicalo.com. You can see it in the description below. It's some guy talking about politics, and it's not something I do full time. I'm a businessman, so that's me. All right, I'll stay on here for a few more minutes. We'll talk some politics, and you get to pick my brain. I'm sure. And by the way, trophy of the week goes to Pete. He gives me a real run for my money when it comes to taking positions on things. I'm not that far in the left camp, but I like to say I have 1 foot in each. I hope I've earned that trophy. Yeah, the wink emoji came through. Did it come through on the screen? Yeah, it did. But yeah, it's a rabbit hole of its own. Let's see. EJ, the music follow up from JD Vance, counter rally in Philly on Tuesday. There are lots and lots of Photoshop. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Vance's behavior yesterday, walking across the tarmac to see Air Force Two, saying that the plane is going to be mine and everything else. His rhetoric is not helpful. His rhetoric is not helpful to winning over centrists and more sophisticated-minded Americans. My general approach to Vance is that. Jay, the D's and others asked for change and got it after the first debate. Ours want to stay in. Who the D's? Yeah, but the D's asked for change. They could have voted for change. There was Dean Phillips, and they voted Biden. I'm not in favor of taking away the agency of voters and saying they're all lemmings. I'm not in favor of like what's happening with Cori Bush. Cori Bush is villainizing AIPAC for pouring in $8 million into her campaign. I believe the NRA, AIPAC, the NAACP are all forms of speech. And in the end of the day, it comes down to the votes of the district. Why is it being dismissed that Cori Bush was a bad representative for her district? How am I able to know that and factually establish that and say that? Is because she lost by St. Louis Missourians. I hope I said that right. And now she said AIPAC fanaticized her or made her more extreme. I forget the exact verbiage. and AIPAC, I'm coming to tear your kingdom down. That rhetoric is more than inflammatory. But as long as you want to do it through the democratic process, by all means. But America is not where you are. America is not where the squad is. And the extremist left, by Kamala pandering to them, is not helping in Michigan. My take. If you can't tell, I'm pretty passionate about that. Sue Ann looking forward, always looking forward. And yeah, Pete, Mark Halpern's two-way. I always partake in it. You know that. And it's unfortunate the circumstances that happened over the past couple of days. I'm not sure what you mean, M3. I'm not sure what you mean here. And again, sorry, let me know what you're referring to. Bruce, I appreciate you. You showed up and you gave me your time. Something that nobody can create more of. Thank you so much. No, I'm not saying you're far left. Not at all. Not at all. I'm just saying you are in the Democratic camp. Am I wrong? I'm sorry if I mislabeled you, but I thought you were on the left. I'm sorry. Hamilton. Yes, I definitely love it. This is more of a I like when it comes to audience engagement. I think this is the best way to do it. If I had everybody on screen, let's say, it'll be too cumbersome for everybody to talk at the same time. But this feature where I put up a comment that I'm talking about, I really like too. Chris Hayes. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I saw the debunking, but I'm still sifting through the GOP and Democratic side. Yeah, kick her out, baby. She did not represent her district or America. That, Sean, that is the problem. Most 15 million Americans voted for Biden, but they saw Dean Phillips on the ballot, right? And who even knew there was a Democratic primary? That is the problem. There was an alternative to Biden. And I think if more Americans knew that, they could have taken action. Election day is not made as big of a deal when it's primary instead of the general. We all know that. Anybody else is an alternative. M3. Everybody should partake in their democratic process. Who's NA, Suen? Not sure who that is. And there's one more thing I do want to show you. Actually, yeah, and I'll close out with that. Chris Cuomo believes that faith did play a role in skipping over Shapiro. And Mehdi Hassan came on his program last night. I'm going to show you the back and forth. In my opinion, Mehdi Hassan doesn't. So listen, nobody's saying the GOP is Jew friendly. All I'm saying is that Shapiro was skipped over because of his faith. Here's what I have to say about that. And where is that video? Here, I responded to it. Just give me another minute and I'll find it, and then we'll log off. I just wanted to show you guys. I should have had it prepared. I apologize. Here it is.
Without being accused of anti-Semitism. Yes. Genocide Josh, we're allowed to criticize his stance on Israel without being accused of anti-Semitism. Yes. Genocide Josh, it's very inflammatory. It's not a phrase I would anti-Semitic, because hold on, they call Joe Biden Genocide Joe, and Joe Biden is not Jewish. So it's not an anti-Semitic pejorative. It's a pejorative. It's not anti-Semitic. So even if they rejected him because they're worried about losing Arab American voters in Michigan, that's because of his Israel views, not because of his faith. J.B. Pritzker is the Jewish governor of Illinois. He has not said as many inflammatory things about Palestinians or campus protesters as Shapiro. I would have been fine with Pritzker. I wouldn't have been fine with Shapiro. So it's got nothing to do with his faith. It's insane for Trump and Republicans and others to suggest that this is about Judaism. The most senior political officials who are Jewish in this country are Democrats. The Secretary of State, the Attorney General, all four Jewish governors in America, they're all Democrats, right? The only person who's ever run on a ticket for president or vice president who's Jewish was Joe Lieberman on a Democratic ticket. And by the way, accusing the far left of being anti-Jewish is so absurd, because in 2024, a lot of the far left are going to vote for Jill Stein, who is Jewish. And in 2020, they wanted Bernie Sanders, who is Jewish. So let's stop the nonsense gaslighting and weaponizing of anti-Semitism for partisan aims.
I don't know that Bernie would like that you say he's Jewish. He would say he's culturally Jewish. Now he's agnostic. But Mehdi, the argument is well met.
He calls himself Jewish, Chris.
It depends. It depends. It depends. Mehdi, I appreciate you. Your arguments are well met and appreciated.
There's that. You guys can make your own opinion. Yeah. I would have voted no labels, no question. No question. I don't care who the candidate would have been, but I would have voted them, no question. But that was Mehdi Hasan, so an extreme leftist who I read pretty regularly just to gain some perspective. I mix in some ultra rightists too, and that's that. Guys, let me know what you thought of that clip, and then I'll be signing off. So see you tomorrow, and I'll be on Mark Halpern's two-way, and looking forward to our call. Thanks so much, everybody. All right, Hamilton. If it's buffering too much, you can always go back on the replay, and then it'll come through smoothly. The replay should be available immediately after I end the live stream. Actually, even now, you can always go back. And yes, TC After Dark has dropped. Thank you for that, Sean. See you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great day.